I found out my boyfriend's evil twin didn't exist because a stranger sent me a voice note at 2 a.m. I was half asleep, face stuck to my pillow, when my phone buzzed on the nightstand. I ignored it at first. Only emergencies and drunk people happen at 2 a.m. Then it buzzed again, and again. When I finally grabbed it, there were 3 notifications. From a number I didn't recognize, and a WhatsApp profile picture of a girl I had never seen. The last message was a voice note, 10 seconds long. I hit play. Hi, this is going to sound insane, a shaky female voice said, but I think we're dating the same guy. He says he has a twin, and he just called me your name in bed. I sat up so fast I saw stars. The guy I was dating, Ethan, did have a twin. Or at least that's what he told me. The twin's name? Liam. I stared at my wall in the dark, heart pounding, and replayed the audio. Please, I'm not trying to start drama, the girl went on. He left his phone unlocked. I saw your name at the top of his texts. Labeled as work, don't answer. I Googled it. You're tagged in his Instagram. As his girlfriend. That's the moment my stomach actually dropped. You know that cliché people say. It's real. He put me in his phone as work, don't answer. I didn't respond. Not yet. Instead, I scrolled up through her messages. She'd sent screenshots. Selfies with Ethan. Except in her captions, he wasn't Ethan. He was Liam. And somehow, in every single photo, he looked exactly like my boyfriend. Let me back up. My name is Harper. I'm 25. I met Ethan at my friend's Halloween party last year. He was dressed as some kind of half-assed vampire. Fake blood on his neck. AirPods case clipped to his belt like that wasn't ruining the costume. I was a lazy cat. Ears, eyeliner, black dress. I know. Original. We ended up outside on the balcony, sharing a cigarette neither of us really wanted, because the music inside was too loud to talk. He was funny in a very dry way. Roasted himself more than anyone else. When I asked what he did, he said he worked in creative logistics. So, delivery driver with a Canvas subscription? I teased. He laughed. Honestly, clothes. I coordinate installs for events. Weddings, pop-ups, corporate parties. I'm the guy who shows up with all the stuff and makes it look like rich people live in Pinterest. We made small talk until my friend Abby came to drag me to the dance floor. Before I went, he asked for my number. You seem like trouble, he said. I'd like to make some scheduling errors with you. Cringe. But it worked. On our 3rd date, sitting in his car at a red light, he casually mentioned he had a twin. Technically, I'm older by 7 minutes, he said. But Liam acts like he's the big brother. Identical. I asked. He grimaced. Unfortunately, he got the same face and none of the morals. I laughed. Evil twin situation? Pretty much. If you ever see someone who looks exactly like me, being a jackass at a bar, it's him, not me. I'm the soft one. I didn't think much of it. I've met people with messy siblings before. He changed the subject. Told me some story about Liam getting them both grounded in high school. For sneaking out to meet girls. Red flag? Probably. But when you're still in the honeymoon stage, you treat red flags like carnival decorations. For the first 6 months, Ethan was, honestly, pretty great. He brought me coffee to work on my long days. He fixed the broken hinge on my kitchen cabinet, without me asking. When I got sick, he showed up with Gatorade and soup, and sat on the floor folding my laundry, while I napped. He told me up front that his job meant weird hours. Events don't care about your sleep schedule, he'd say. Sometimes I have to do overnight install. Sometimes early morning teardown. I'll always text when I can. And he did. Random 3 a.m. messages of, just finished. You'd hate this wedding playlist, by the way. Why is everyone obsessed with neon signs? He posted me on Instagram. But not constantly. Just enough to feel real. My friends approved. My mom liked that he used his hands for work, instead of staring at computer games all day. Which was definitely a passive-aggressive shot at my ex. Everything was normal. Except for one thing. I never met his twin. Not once. Every time I suggested it, something came up. He's on a job in another city. We're not really on speaking terms right now. He's going through something. It's not a good time. He didn't follow Liam on social media. Or at least, I didn't see any tags or photos. When I asked, he said Liam was anti-internet. He thinks the government is watching him, Ethan joked. Conspiracy podcast guy. You're not missing anything. I rolled my eyes and let it go. Because frankly, if my boyfriend had a boundary-avoiding disaster twin, I was happy not to have him at our date nights. Until the night I met Liam. It was Abby's birthday, and she wanted messy karaoke at a dive bar downtown. Ethan said he'd meet us there after an install. If he finished in time. By 11 p.m., he still hadn't shown up. I was halfway through a terrible rendition of Since You've Been Gone, when Abby's boyfriend came up to the stage and said, "Hey Harp, isn't that your boyfriend over there?" I turned. At the far end of the bar, in a red plaid shirt I recognized, stood Ethan. He had a beer in one hand and a girl's waist in the other. They were laughing. Faces close, that flirty lean-in that you can feel across a room. My stomach dipped and then spiked. I watched him whisper something in her ear. She slapped his arm playfully. He tucked a piece of hair behind her ear. Every cell in my body screamed. I shoved the mic back at the DJ and marched across the sticky floor. "Ethan!" He turned around. For half a second, there was panic in his eyes. Then he grinned. But it wasn't his usual grin. It was sharper. "Cock here." "Oh," he drawled. "You must be Harper. I've heard about you." His voice was the same, but his tone wasn't. The girl next to him frowned. "Babe, who's this?" she asked. I blinked. "Babe." My brain was trying to compute. He slung an arm around her shoulders. "Relax, Jess. This is my brother's girlfriend." "'At's girl, right?" He stuck out his hand to me. "I'm Liam." It felt like my brain blue-screened. I just stared at his hand. Same face. Same haircut. Same tiny scar on his left eyebrow, from where he'd walked into the open cabinet in my kitchen. But his energy was different. His posture, the way he leaned closer, even the way he smelled. Stronger cologne, heavier. I felt suddenly insane. Jess looked between us. "Wait, you're twins?" she asked. "You never told me that." "Oh my God, that makes so much sense." So much sense. I mumbled something like, "Nice to meet you," and backed away. By the time I got to the bathroom, my hands were shaking so hard. I dropped my phone twice. Abby followed me in. "What the hell was that?" she asked. I splashed water on my face. That was his twin. Supposedly. "You've never met him before?" "No. And apparently he has a girlfriend, too." We both went quiet. Possible explanations flashed through my mind. It really was his twin. This was some elaborate prank. I'd been dating an actor in a long-con performance art piece. Ethan texted me later that night. "Babe, I'm so sorry you had to meet Liam like that. He's a flirt. He's always like that. Are you okay? I'll call you in the morning." I stared at the message for a long time. My gut said something was off. My brain said, "You saw them both in the same place. It has to be true." So I silenced my gut, like an idiot. After that, Liam started popping up more. Not in person. Always via Ethan's stories. A blurry boomerang of 2 beer bottles clinking. Twin night clinking beer mugs. A photo of what was clearly Ethan's car. In a different city. With the caption, "Let the evil twin borrow the wheels. Pray for him." Sometimes Ethan would cancel plans last minute, with a vague family thing excuse. When I pushed, he'd sigh and say Liam was in trouble again. That he had to pick him up from somewhere. That Liam's girlfriend was mad, and he was stuck in the middle. "I didn't sign up to be a third parent," he'd joke. But whatever. He's blood. I tried to be supportive, but the glitches kept piling up. Once, while Ethan was in the shower, his phone lit up on the nightstand. Normally I don't snoop. Trauma from my last relationship. But the screen displayed a notification. "Liam, I'm outside." Except his phone was right there. In my room. With him. I frowned. When he came out, I mentioned it. "Weird," I said. "Why is your twin texting you from your own contact photo?" He didn't miss a beat. "Oh, that's not him. That's just how I saved him in my phone. Long story, dumb prank from years ago." It felt like a lie, but it was such a specific, stupid lie, that my brain slid off it. Another time, we were rewatching The Office, and he fell asleep on my couch. His hand was hanging off the edge. and I saw a faint indentation mark on his ring finger, like he'd been wearing a ring and taken it off recently. We don't wear rings. We're not engaged. When I asked, he said he'd been trying on samples for a client who wanted custom engraved bands. My gut twisted, but again, plausible. Trashy part of the story is how many plausible lies I swallowed, because confrontation felt scarier than confusion. Back to the voice note. After replaying it 3 times, I finally typed back, "Hey, I'm awake. Can we talk?" She called immediately. Her name was Zoey. She was 2 years younger than me. Lived 1 city over. She'd met Ethan, sorry Liam, on Hinge 6 months ago. They went on a coffee date. He told her up front that he had an identical twin, and that his twin's girlfriend was controlling, and didn't let him have female friends. He played the victim perfectly. He said they were super close growing up. Zoey explained, but that after his brother got into a relationship, he felt like he lost his best friend. Cute, right? Weaponized trauma. He told her he wasn't ready for labels yet, but that he wanted something real. He cooked for her, bought her little gifts, talked about introducing her to his mom when things calmed down. He never posted her. Said his twin's girlfriend stalked his social media and would start drama if she saw another woman. My stomach churned. When did you say you met him? I asked. She checked. End of March. He asked me to be his girlfriend. In February, I heard my own voice come out flat. Zoey, Ethan and I moved in together in May. Silence. Then a shocked little laugh. I'm sorry, what? I explained everything. How we'd been together almost a year. How I'd only met Liam once. How the night at the bar hadn't felt right. Zoey listened, occasionally muttering, "Oh my God," under her breath. Then she dropped her bomb. "Okay, this is going to sound even crazier," she said. "But I'm in a group chat with 3 other girls. We joke about the twins a lot. I think you should see it." She sent me a link. The chat was called Twin Flames Fire Fire. No, I'm not kidding. Inside were 4 girls and Ethan. In the chat, he went by Liam. Zoey added me and introduced me as Harper. We need to talk to her. Immediately, the messages flooded in. Kayla, wait, is this Ethan's Harper? Jenna, the live-in girlfriend Harper? Maya, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I felt like throwing up. Kayla had been seeing Liam for 9 months. Jenna, almost a year. Maya, on and off for 3 years. Every single one had been told some version of the same story. He had a twin brother named Ethan. Ethan's girlfriend was controlling, jealous, or abusive. He couldn't post them because it would blow up the family. He was working up the courage to cut ties. He rotated between them, like a shift schedule. Different nights, different cities, same face. It got worse. Maya, the one he'd known longest, sent photos of them at a wedding 2 years ago. He was wearing a suit, ring on his finger. He told me it was his cousin's wedding, she wrote. Now I'm wondering if you were there. I zoomed in on the background, and there I was, blurry but unmistakable. In the corner, holding a bouquet, laughing with Abby. He had brought his side piece to the same wedding, where he was my +1. I felt the world tilt. The 4 of us, Zoey, Kayla, Jenna, and I, spent the next hour comparing timelines. It was like assembling a jigsaw puzzle of our own humiliation. We screenshot everything. Dates, times, hotel receipts. He recycled lines like bad movie quotes. You're the only person I feel really safe with. My twin doesn't get me like you do. I wish things were simpler so I could shout our love from the rooftops. He signed off late-night texts with, "Don't forget, you're my favorite notification." He'd sent that to all of us. On the same night, within minutes, we realized he even color-coded us. In his Google Calendar, Zoey had once glimpsed his screen. Appointments titled, Event Zoey, Event K, Event J. She thought they were work events. In hindsight, it was so disgustingly organized that it almost felt less like cheating and more like some sick scheduling hobby. We debated what to do. Zoey wanted to burn him publicly. Maya wanted to throw his stuff out of her apartment from the 3rd-floor balcony. Kayla suggested just blocking him and moving on. I wanted answers. I wanted to see his face. when all of his twins stood in one room. So we made a plan. We decided to set up a family dinner. Maya texted him first. Maya, hey baby, any chance you're free Thursday night? Mom wants to meet my mysterious boyfriend properly. I told her about the twin, and she said she wants to see you both. He replied quickly, Liam, LMAO your mom is wild. But yeah, I can probably swing it. Where? Zoey offered up her friend's restaurant. Small, quiet, cheap enough that we could all order something. Without going broke. We booked a table for 6 under Maya's last name. The idea was simple. All 4 of us would show up. I'd sit at the head of the table. When he walked in as Liam, he'd be forced to face every version of himself. The day of the dinner, my anxiety was so bad. I couldn't eat. I told Ethan, the version of him who lived with me, that I had a work thing. He kissed my forehead, thanked me for being so understanding of his crazy schedule, and said he'd probably be working late with his new client. On the Uber ride to the restaurant, I kept rehearsing lines in my head. What do you say to a man who has multiplied himself like a virus? When I walked in, the girls were already there. Zoey in a denim jacket, bouncing her leg under the table. Kayla with purple hair, and the biggest hoop earrings I've ever seen. Maya in a sleek black dress, eyes hard. We looked at each other, and something inside me cracked. We laughed, not because it was funny, but because the alternative was sobbing on the floor. He really had a type, Kayla said. Emotional, tired women with anxiety and good hair. We clinked water glasses like it was champagne. At 7:12 p.m., my phone buzzed. Liam, running 10 late. Save me a seat next to you, princess. Which one did he mean? All of us. We watched the door. At 7:23, he walked in. Same face. Same stupid, effortless swagger. He was wearing the shirt I'd given him on our 6-month anniversary. For a split second, he looked pleased, like he'd stumbled into an accidental harem. Then he realized no one else was at the table. Just us. His eyes flicked from Zoey to Kayla to Maya to me at the head of the table. I watched each emotion pass over his face. Confusion, recognition, panic, and then that slick charm sliding back into place. Like a cheap mask. Wow, he said slowly. Okay, this is the lot. I folded my hands on the table. Take a seat, Liam, I said. Or should I say Ethan? He didn't move. The restaurant was quiet. A soft jazz playlist hummed above us. The waitress hovered nervously by the bar. Maya broke the silence. Sit down, she snapped. Or I start reading your messages out loud, including the ones where you told me you were finally ready to look at rings. His jaw clenched. He sat. For a moment we just stared at each other. Up close, I noticed he looked more tired than I'd let myself see. Faint dark circles under his eyes. A stress pimple near his hairline. Fingers tapping restlessly on the table. So, I began, keeping my voice as even as I could. This is Zoey. She says you've been dating for 6 months. She raised her hand slightly. He flinched. This is Kayla, I continued. 9 months. Kayla gave him a sarcastic little wave. Maya, 3 years on and off. Maya's stare could have cut glass. And me, I finished. Almost a year. I live with you. I pay half the rent on an apartment, where you hide your second toothbrush behind the cleaning supplies, so none of them will see it. His eyes widened at that detail. Good. You told each of us that the others were your twins' mess. I said, you said your twin had a controlling girlfriend, that he was the chaotic one, that you were the responsible one, cleaning up his drama. Zoey slid her phone across the table. On the screen was a text from him. Eth is blowing up my phone again. His girl is stalking my Insta, so we gotta keep our pics low-key for a while. I hate that he drags you into this. Kayla pulled up hers. You told me the opposite, she said. That you were the one holding the family together. And Liam kept screwing you over. Which brother are you today, exactly? He rubbed his face. Okay, I messed up, he muttered. I know that. But you all came here to what? Team up and drag me? That's a little psycho. Maya actually laughed. You're calling 4 women psycho. For comparing notes about a man who copy-pasted a twin story to cheat on all of them. He shifted in his seat. You don't understand, he said. It started as a joke. My cousin made me a second Hinge profile. As a prank. Then I met Maya and things just got out of hand. I never meant to hurt anyone. Zoey slammed her hand on the table. You looked me in the eyes and cried about how scared you were of being cheated on, she said. You told me your last girlfriend broke your heart. You used that to convince me to delete all my male friends' numbers. And you were juggling 4 girlfriends. He shrugged helplessly. I have attachment issues. I couldn't help it. I laughed. Ugly, bitter laugh. You don't have attachment issues, I said. You have scheduling issues. You treated us like recurring appointments. I pulled out my own phone and opened the voice note he'd sent me 3 weeks ago. You're the only one who really gets me, his recorded voice said. Sometimes I feel like there's 2 of me, the one the world sees, and the real me that only you get to have. I hit pause. Zoey pulled up hers. Press play. Same sentence. Different date. Kayla and Maya followed. He shifted from defensive to annoyed. All right, what do you want from me? An apology. Money. You want me to post some big confession online? Hey guys, I was a bad boyfriend. People do worse stuff every day. Maya leaned forward. What we want, she said slowly, is distance. She slid a printed document across the table. It was a simple agreement that Zoey's lawyer friend had thrown together. A restraining order-like letter, stating that he would cease all contact, online and offline, with our phone numbers, emails, and handles listed. If you contact any of us again, she said, we will file for an actual restraining order. I'll forward this whole group chat to your mom, your boss, and every venue you work with, including the ones where you stole pictures for your portfolio. His bravado cracked. Come on, Mai. You wouldn't do me like that. You already did, she said. 3 times. He stared at the paper. For a second, I saw the mask slip entirely. He looked small. Not powerful, not sexy. Just small. He signed. I'd love to say. I walked out of that restaurant, feeling empowered and free. In reality, I went home, locked myself in the bathroom, and ugly cried on the floor, until Abby showed up with ice cream and a baseball bat. Breaking up is one thing. Breaking up with a person you now realize you never actually knew is a whole different kind of grief. The next morning, I packed his things into trash bags. When he came home from work and found them in the hallway, he tried one last performance. Harper, please. You're the only one I actually loved, he said. The others were just distractions. I was scared of how real this was. I pointed at the bags. Your twin can help you unpack, I said. I'm done. He slept in his car that night. By the end of the week, he'd moved out. He tried texting Zoey once. From a new number. She screenshot it, sent it to the group with a simple block and report. We all did. We still have the chat. We renamed it from Twin Flames Fire to Single Queen's Crown. Sometimes we send each other photos of red flags we spot on dating apps. Guy says, my ex was crazy twice in one paragraph. Next. Won't show his social media. Bye. We've met up a few times. We celebrate each other's promotions, birthdays, therapy breakthroughs. Zoey jokes that we're the only good thing to come out of the twin scam cinematic universe. She's not wrong. As for Ethan Liam / whatever his next name is, we still see him pop up sometimes. A tagged photo on some acquaintance's feed. A blurry background extra in somebody's story. But now, when I see his face, I don't feel that stab of panic. I just feel relief. Relief that he's no longer something I have to schedule my life around. And every time I start to miss the version of him I thought I had, I replay that 2 a.m. voice note in my head. A stranger's shaky voice saying, I think we're dating the same guy. And I remember, the second you realize you're sharing a boyfriend with a bunch of women who never signed up for it, he stops being a prize and becomes exactly what he always was, a bad copy of a decent man, pretending to be his own twin, because he was too cowardly to just be alone.